Councilmember Bill Rosendahl talks about the Green Line extension in his District 11, as well as the Venice Boulevard route.
The other day, I can't think of a bigger issue that we all are united about, and that's the gridlock in the Southland. It's the worst ever, and it's only going to get worse until real leadership takes it and runs forward with it. And you've been a great leader on it, Wendy, and I appreciate that. A couple of three quick questions for you. First is, I'm seeing on one of my papers here that we do have the Green Line back in the mix, that it would go into the airport and go up Lincoln Boulevard. Is it now on all the plans and all the maps going forward?
Yes, Councilman. Corrections were made. There was some confusion about a graphic that was presented by a SCAG representative in council during that day, but in terms of the actual planning documents, the Green Line extension through LAX and ultimately up Lincoln Boulevard is included in the SCAG RTP strategic plan, meaning the open-ended plan, as well as in the MTA long-range transportation plan.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. The aviation would be the first stop on Century Boulevard. That could be a multimodal stop, so everybody else's dreams can have their light rail or their subways go to that spot, right?
That is the potential, correct.
And then we can go to parking lot C for one more stop and then go into the airport and tie it into the people mover as we go through our green light projects at LAX.
As you are, a number of alternatives are being studied, which includes that particular one.
And as well as looking up Lincoln Boulevard into Santa Monica. If we get that Expo line into Santa Monica, we have a terrific north-south connection.
Correct. Long term.
And then, well, it's got to be shorter than long. I want to be alive, you know. I'm tired of this stuff going on forever. I also want to make sure the Green Line goes down to the Galleria in Redondo Beach, which would take the whole South Bay and give them that north-south. Are we looking at that leg as well for the long-term plans?
As you're aware, the entire alignment of that is outside the city of Los Angeles, but I'm aware the South Bay COG, Council of Governments, has been actively lobbying for that, and it's my belief that it is also included in the strategic long-range transportation
plan. Yeah, both SCAG and MTA got to get with us in that long-range plan, but I appreciate what you just said on that. The second thing is I've been waiting for a rapid bus on Venice Boulevard, one of the most busiest streets in the city, and we have no rapid buses there at all. I want to come to work on that. How are we doing on the rapid bus idea for Venice Boulevard?
Once again, since MTA is the transit operator, who would actually be operating the services, our relationship with MTA for Rapid Bus comes to the hardware in the street and the software that enable the Rapid Buses to actually improve their travel times. We have remained in discussions with MTA to include Venice Boulevard as one of the 8 additional rapid bus routes beyond the 20 that have been previously programmed and implemented. And that's also, there is a rapid bus expansion program included in the long-range transportation plan.
Let them know that at the turn of the century, we used to use Venice a little bit more 100 years ago. It's a great boulevard. I prefer to see more activity on that than my little Pico piece being assaulted to the 405 right now. And I also want to see a bus-only lane on Wilshire Boulevard, which there's been a lot of discussion about, and we'd like an update on that as well.
Right, which is also programmed in the long-range transportation plan.
Right. And thank you for your presentation.
Directing his statements to staff, District 1 Councilmember Ed Reyes says he'd like to see dash-type systems within neighborhoods, as well as bikeways to help reduce traffic in Los Angeles.
In terms of long-range plans, as I stated during the SCAG report, and our need to look at local circulators and local markets. This city has a culture in which we've been pushing our traffic out into the suburbs and back in as quick as possible because of the federal mandates and everything else that goes with the grading of intersections. Where I think we failed is looked at the local markets. Each neighborhood has their own version of their main street that they want to preserve. We have development of gold line stations with inadequate parking, especially the one they built going through the Northeast. It seems to me that we should be facilitating dash-type systems, local circulators that can help ease the lack of parking that's inherent throughout the city. With these local circulators, if they were electric buses, low noise, no pollution, it'd be a great way to get people to think about using the existing rail lines and bus systems to get from their home to these facilities. So that's an issue that I want to bring up as a transit-oriented district plans evolve to stimulate investment towards these types of local circulators. That's one. The other is bikeways, looking at bikes as alternative mode of transportation. Take it seriously in terms of how we are going to improve our roadways to make them safer so that the bikes in of themselves can become an option. Europe is already doing this. A couple of cities are doing it in the country where you actually can use your credit card. You can have a bike-to-bike facility. We can literally rent a bike for half a day, the day, or there's a whole program that's already evolved. The National League of Cities has highlighted that whole program as alternative means of transportation. That's something we should take more seriously, again, to induce ridership in our bus lines, and we made it convenient to get there, and that we haven't done.
Asking for statistics on public transportation in L.A., District 4 Councilmember Tom LaBonge expresses his concerns about the Los Angeles freeway system and talks about freeway pinch points in certain areas.
Plan, how many percentage of people take public transit, right now?
But there are several ways of calculating that.
But just give me a guess, because I don't want to talk too long, because I know they got other business.
On any given day in Los Angeles, of course, there are probably 1 million boardings of public transit in different forms, between bus, rail, and...
Yeah, right. And they count at a boarding twice, so it's not like there's 1 million people, it's really 500,000. Anyway, like 85% of people still use vehicles, right?
On any given day for the journey to work, correct.
Whatever it is.
Personal vehicles.
Who's going to focus on the existing freeway system? Are we going to abandon that, or are we going to deal with it?
No, it's not abandoned at all. In fact, one of the comments that we make to MTA is the city's demand that the city have a greater role to play in influencing the investment decisions by Caltrans. Right now, in the call for projects, for freeway projects, MTA works almost exclusively with Caltrans in determining which projects get funding through the call. And one of our demands is that the city, as a major beneficiary of improvements, but also one of the entities that suffers the most in terms of failure of the freeways to function fully, that we should be seated at the table when those decisions are being made.
Very good. And I've asked the CLA for some kind of advisory group for freeway systems in the county to be a voice for that, because still a number of people move. This little map, I don't know if you can see, Michael, and you're very knowledgeable of the city. These are just simple pinch points with existing right-of-ways. Northbound 5 sometimes backs up all the way to Los Feliz Boulevard, 4.5 miles, because of the Alameda on-ramp in Burbank. If the on-ramp was changed to be a transitional on-ramp instead of a drop on-ramp, possibly it would ease the congestion. Same thing south on the Harbor Freeway. As you go to the port, it goes from 4 lanes down to 3. Also down the Hollywood Freeway all the way through to the 4 level. There's certain pinch points that could be, corrected. And also the San Diego Freeway. I went out to Mr. Rosendal's district there on Saturday. Congratulations to that great fire station you fought for the people out there on the West Jefferson Boulevard, Mr. Rosendahl. I saw all the work that's being done on the San Diego Freeway, but they're like going to be finished in years. We should be asking Caltrans to try to expedite that just to ease the pain of congestion. And anyway, I just want to make sure we do focus on our freeway system still. We do focus on our streets, secondaries, and majors. We do focus on Pauline Chan's concept of neighborhood protection. She's over DOT. And also we do focus on things that Mr. Reyes spoke of, the bikeway system, which is so important. Bicycle boulevards, using our existing right-of-ways, whether they're transmission, whether they're river right-of-ways for bikeways. One of the big fight I have coming up is I want the bikeway on the LA River through the county property out by Universal. But if you go out there, you see they built on the right-of-way, and so we have that problem. So this is just a point. And members, I just want one of my challenges for or things I'm going to do in 2008 is talk about pinch points on the freeway system, and I'll be visiting with you all. I know I got Mrs. Hahn's pinch point, and right there at the 110 and the 405. And I know Mr. Alarcon spoke yesterday about a pinch point up at the 5. Mr. Smith will continue with that. Thank you so much.
And as amended, if we can please open the roll on this item, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
You can listen to City Council meetings as well as committee and commission meetings on the telephone by using the city's council phone system. In the downtown area, dial 213-621-CITY. In West LA, dial 310-471-CITY. For the San Pedro area, dial 310-547-CITY. And in the San Fernando Valley, dial 818-904-9450. Just follow the recorded instructions for the meetings you want to hear. And we invite you to address the Los Angeles City Council on any item on the council agenda, as well as during public comment. You may come downtown to City Hall or go to the Van Nuys City Hall and participate via video teleconferencing. Remember, you can watch all Los Angeles City Council meetings live in their entirety on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, beginning at 10 a.m. On Sundays, you can watch the replay of all the week's meetings, also beginning at 10 a.m. Council Week in Review can be seen Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. On Saturday and Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Well, that concludes our program for the week ending February 22nd, 2008. On behalf of Michael Flynn and everyone here at Channel 35, I'm Jack Popejoy. Thank you for watching, and please join us for the next Council Week in Review.
LA City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Labange is here, Mr. Parks, Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Smith, Mr. Weiss, Mr. Zine. Mr. Carter should be here within the next 5 minutes, and I think we should have a quorum in just a few minutes. Thank you very much, Mr. Wesson, for being here. Thank you very much, Mr. Alarcon, Mr. Labange, Mr. Parks, Mr. Rosendahl, Mr. Smith, Mr. Weiss, Mr. Wesson, and Mr. Zine. Waiting for the arrival of one more council person, and we will have a quorum. Mr. Labange, would you like to talk while we're waiting? Yeah, why don't you take a few minutes and just let air your lungs out.
I wanted to express my
Please give Mr. Labange the mic right now.
Thank you very much.
Let Mr. Labange have the mic.
Express my appreciation for your work, Jan Perry. Last night at the historic athletic club in the central part of downtown, several businesses, organizations, new buildings, services were honored for Downtown Awards, a distinction by the Downtown News. The Downtown News is one of the greatest newspapers that any community could have, and the applause that you received, Ms. Perry, is really worth the work that you've done and the appreciation that people in the central part of the city have for you in turning Los Angeles around. So I'm just pleased to stand here and speak on your wonderful work here in Los Angeles, and I'm proud that we're here. I also want to remind everybody that as I have the moment, the microphone, if I could please, that because this is springtime, the rains of the recent past has caused great growth in the hillsides of Griffith Park and in the Hollywood Hills. Thus, through that, there are great walking trails where if you have an opportunity to walk, hike, enjoy, bike appropriately, you'll have a wonderful experience. It was a beautiful sunrise this morning as I passed the neighborhood. Avak did have his trash cans put in off the street, which are more important because he lives on a Thursday collection day there, but it all worked well in this morning's camp. So I think we have almost everybody here. I see a flame of fire of motion coming down the hall. Yes. I think it is the great councilwoman of the 15th district. Yes. I would like to ask her deputy to open that door so she could come in here. That's right. Very quickly as we do. And
thank you for your filibuster.
You bet. And,
I appreciate it.
You betcha.
Now you can relax.
As long as you don't adjourn, I'll relax.
No. You don't just relax.
I don't want an editorial in the Daily News criticizing us for not meeting there.
No, I want very much to meet, and everyone should be able to talk for no more than 2 minutes.
You got it. Well, you're very good. I like that. I wish it was all that much there. So that's very good. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm going to open that door.
She's supposed to be here at 10:30.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hahn. We now have a full quorum. Thank you very much for making that long trek from the southernmost part of our city. Welcome to City Hall and to the Los Angeles City Council meeting. This is the meeting of the Los Angeles City Council, and today is Wednesday, February the 27th. Council meets 3 times per week on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The meetings are open to the public, and for those who cannot make it to City Hall, meetings are televised via cable on Channel 35 or can be viewed by visiting our website. This meeting is now in session. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alarcon, Cardenas, Gruel, Hahn, Weezer, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Westenstein, Garcetti. 10 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
All right, can we have a motion for approval of the minutes? Councilmember Rosendahl moves. Councilmember Parks seconds.
Next item is commendatory resolutions for approval.
Councilmember Labange moved. Councilmember Alarcon seconds.
Before beginning the regular agenda, Madam President, there's a request to continue item number 27 to March 26th.
That should go without objection.
Next items are items noticed for public hearings. Items 1 and 2 are building and safety liens, and the department is recommending that those matters be received and filed inasmuch as the liens have been paid.
All right, without objection on that as well.
Next items are also public hearing items. Items 3, 4, and 5 are confirmation of building and safety liens.
Again, without objection.
Madam President, a vote is required on those.
Oh, all right, hold on. Which item was that again?
Items 3, 4, and 5.
All right, and there is a card on that? I don't have any cards. Okay, that's fine. Next item. Okay, open the roll on all those items. Close the roll. And then tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Next item.
Next items are items for which public hearings have been held, items 6 through 26. And on item 26, there are 2 reports on the file.
All right, members, are there any other specials?
Yes.
Oh, Ms. Hahn.
Yes, 7, 8, and 20. 21. 20 and 21.
All right.
All
thank
those.
You. Take it out of order. All right, thank you. Any other specials? Mr. Alarcon?
On item 25, Mr. Smith and I are in agreement that we should hold that matter until March 19th.
Thank you. Very good. Mr. Parks, do you have any specials?
I'd like to hold 22 till we get something clarified, and 26 we ask that both reports be approved.
All right, great. And Mr. Rosendahl, did you have a request to take something out of order?
Yes, please, 38, and leave it on consent.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, when we get there, we'll do that. Okay, hold on. Yeah. All right, we have to hold 6 for 12 members, I believe, since it's an ordinance.
Madam President, if 12 aren't here today, you can, council can go ahead and vote on those, and then they'll be over for a week.
I believe we may achieve 12 members in the next 30 minutes. 2 members who are arriving late will be here, should be here by then. So let's see.
11, hold.
Okay, then that would leave before council 9 through 26, and except for 6, 7, 8, 20, and 21 were called special, and 22 was also called special.
All right, any other specials? All right, open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
11 should go forthwith. There's been a request for 11 to go forthwith.
Next items, Madam President, are items for which public hearings have not been held. Items 27 through 35, 10 votes are required for consideration.
Any specials on that, members? Seeing none, open the roll.
Madam President, you have cards.
I'm sorry, Mr. Parks.
35.
I'm sorry, we have cards on that one. All right, 35 called special by Mr. Parks.
And you also have cards on 28, 29, 30, and 34.
All right. Thank you very much. And on those remaining items, go ahead and open the roll. And close the roll. You have to open the roll on the remaining items that weren't called special. All right, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right, next item. And Mr. Rosendahl, I think this is your part.
Well, the next item is 36, the closed session. Do you wish to hold that on the desk?
38.
Okay.
Okay, we just hold it on the desk.
Yeah, let's hold that on the desk.
Okay, and then the next item on the continuation agenda is item number 38, and I believe Mr. Rosendahl indicated that can go on, that can just be voted on.
Okay.
Yeah, we can take that now then. Please open the roll on that item. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Thank you very much.
Madam President, there is a special meeting that's been agendized, item number 37. Do you wish to recess the regular meeting and take up the special meeting?
Yes. Please do so.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Gruelhan, Weezer, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti, 10 members present, and a quorum, Madam President. And there is only one item on this agenda. It's an item for which public hearing has not been held, and I believe there is a card on it.
All right, we'll hold that on the desk and call it as it comes up.
Oh, okay. Then do you wish to continue that matter then to the regular meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you wish to adjourn the special meeting?
Correct.
Okay. Do you wish to take up public comment at this time?
And 24th should also go forthwith.
And yes, we can go take a public comment.
All right, we can take public comment up right now. The first speaker will be Ted Neubauer, followed by Chuck Tenon, followed by Arnold Sachs.
Good morning, Ted Neubauer.
Okay.
What's up with the fire department cover whitewash over the Little Country Church? There is only 4 scenarios possible. The first would be casual entry with campfire. There is a 12-foot high fence around the entire perimeter of the property, and the only gate has a guard sleeping in back of it in his camper. Casual entry is not possible. Second scenario is an accident with a cigarette. The building is set back 40 feet. Take a look at the aerial photographs. And there is no damage to the landscaping between the front fence line and the building. So, do you know anybody who can throw a cigarette 40 feet? I don't. Third scenario, which the fire department is using as an excuse, is the electrical fire. Can I have some attention here? Can I have some basic courtesy? Third possible scenario, which the fire department is using, is an electrical fire. Not possible on a building that has been abandoned for 10 years. The only remaining scenario is that the owner came on Christmas Eve, gained entry, identified himself, went to the front of the building, and set fire to it, either for the insurance or for to gain alternate land use. So when we get past his fictitious business filings, he needs to be in jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Chuck Tenon. Good morning, Chuck.
I'm sorry?
Madam President, I'm going to ask this man to talk to the arson unit, and they'll tell you what they can tell you legally. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. Mr. Tenon.
Good morning, Madam President, City Council members. Chuck Tenon. The first thing, it's sad that the city has self-inflicted itself with city budget cuts. The city cries the financial outlook is grim. Well, it's always about what you can do with cutting and not what you can't do by cutting or what you can do without cutting. I recently had 100 ways to make the city a better place to live in through essays and kids and that. That idea went right past the city council. So now I have another one. 100 ways to reduce the deficit to help the city balance its budget and increase needed revenue without cutting needed services. Since we pay the taxes, allow the public to participate and move forward and not backwards with fresh ideas. Which brings up another financial problem that the city's going to face this next year. More loss of millions of dollars in revenue. Why? Very soon the enactment of the MLPA, the Marine Life Protection Act, is going to be coming to Southern California that will result in millions of dollars in losses in city revenue. Why? The impact is to shut down our recreational fishing and boating areas and due to reserves based on scientific assumption. And you know what? Designated areas that were designated for the public by past presidents are going to be shut down. And ultimately their goal is to close down the entire coastline of California. You know what? It's going to affect Janice Hahn's area, Herb Weston's area, Bill Rosenthal's, the whole city. Why? Because we get taxes for that from stores, boating, fishing, sporting goods, retail outlets, everything. Are you ready to scrap more revenues dear to this city to run this city? Well, you know what? You better look out on that. I'd like to bring Bob Fletcher, president of the association that's in charge of all the coalitions in that, to speak to the city council and tell them how it will affect the city and its people and the potential loss of millions of dollars in city revenue additional, because the people that live in the city have a right to use these resources because they pay the taxes. But you know what? Watch out, millions more.
Thank you, Chuck. Mr. Sachs. Following Mr. Sachs would be James Ota. Then we'll go off to Sharon Brewer and then Matt Dowd, followed by Michael Hunt. Mr. Sachs, good morning.
Good morning, council members. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it here yesterday. I was at the County Board of Supervisors meeting. So I wanted to make a comment about item number 4, which was suggestions about the budget. Item number 4 is a motion to relative to the evaluation of requested amendments to the Los Angeles Municipal Code to facilitate the application of a look-back period for new business registrations. And I'm wondering if that new business registration would also include businesses that change their name, become a new business that way. Would that also fall under the category of this amendment? Enough on that.
I'm not sure, but we may have someone from the CLA's office to answer that question for you.
Could we get an answer back on that sometime in the future, maybe?
Yes.
Thank you. I'd also like to talk about a couple of newspapers recently. There were some articles about the Grand Avenue project. First of all, I'd like to know the Grand Avenue project is having funding difficulties, evidently. And according to the article in the LA Times, that they were given, they would be penalized if it doesn't make the 2011 deadline for opening the project. So far, the city and the county officials, in part because of a lawsuit, have allowed related to extend the deadlines that the project schedule of performance requires. What are the new deadlines that have been set for the project, even though the project manager says he'll meet the 2011 opening? I'd also like to know about a little bit about the lawsuit. The lawsuit was filed by somebody from the Bonaventure Hotel against the related brother, the related cuz, the developer of the Grand Avenue project. What is the city's stance on that lawsuit? It would involve to violate a previous downtown redevelopment plan by adding too many housing units. What's the city's say on that? Since they're not party to the lawsuit, or were they party to the lawsuit, and whose side were they on? Thank you for your time. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sachs. James Oda, followed, again, we'll go up to Sharon Brewer after James. Mr. Oda.
Good morning, President and LA City Council members and staff. My name is James Oda, Oda Trucking, Harbor Truckers for a Sustainable Future. The Clean Air Act plan has brought the attention of people around the nation that this is not only for the ports of Los Angeles, Long Beach, but also for all the nation ports. Here, independent truckers and harbor trucking companies want to help with cleaning the air by trying to replace our older trucks. The B-1 bond money given to the ports should be used for these harbor truckers for replacement. By 2012, all the port trucks are to be a 2007 engine standard or newer. Instead of retrofit, use this money for replacing all these trucks. We want to stay in business and help with cleaning the air to eliminate all health issues related to the polluted air. Let's know the concession and union drivers. Allow us to stay in business as independent drivers. We need the steamship lines to raise their store-door rates, the ports to be more efficient, so to eliminate all these long waiting lines that we have to go to in order to pick up and return containers. Have the ports become 3 shifts rather than 2 shifts. By having a more efficient harbor operation, we'll give the truckers a faster turn time to increase their earnings. We can work together rather than to be eliminate us by bringing in union drivers. LA, Los Angeles, and Long Beach wants to be the world's largest container ports in the world. We can do this by having independent truckers and the many harbor trucking companies. Yes to clean air, but no to union and concessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oda. If we can go back to Sharon Brewer in our Van Nuys office. Yes, Ms. Brewer.
Hi, Sharon Brewer. Public comment. Regarding agenda item last week, Los Angeles Orthopedic Hospital, joint use universally accessible playground, recreation and parks responsible for maintenance and security. Comment was made that Recreation and Parks said it would be a minimal amount to provide these services. The dollar amount is not the only issue. I was at a meeting last night where a Rec and Parks supervisor was saying that his department has a 40% vacancy rate and they are very short-staffed. A ranger at the meeting said that he was the only one to cover the San Fernando Valley, but that there are 9 rangers for Griffith Park. Question, why does Griffith Park have 9 rangers and the Valley has 1? How can Recreation and Parks take on more maintenance and security for this joint use with Los Angeles Orthopedic Hospital just so the community can have access to the universally accessible playground? LA Orthopedic Hospital should be a good neighbor and let the community use this playground without having Recreation and Parks involvement. Also, if this playground is on private property, which I'm not sure, why would the city be liable for any injuries that might happen? Today's Daily News, article page A3, Council won't slow LAPD hiring, budget, hike in meter fees, ads from trash cans to dog parks considered. Page A7, financial forecast for LA is grim. Regarding raising parking meter fees from $25 to $50 or $1, stop allowing vehicles from parking at meters for free, including city vehicles, if you really want to take and increase the income from this. Also, nowhere have I read about putting a moratorium on the special events or the convention fee waivers. It's not fair to go and have city staff, like the rangers, being deployed to places other than the parks that aren't covered. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Matt Dowd.
Yes, good morning. Matt Dowd. I'm on blackout today in support of Michael Hunt. Been discriminated against for 699 days now by the city of Los Angeles. But I've got so many other things to talk about. If we don't cover them, you can see them on ladailyblog.com. We talk all about Los Angeles politics. That's the Zuma Dog blog now. He's a major activist talking about the performance of the city council and the city of Los Angeles, so it's very relevant. So go to ladailyblog.com and you can see all the things that I don't cover here today. One of the things they're talking about is changing the Plum Committee and getting some more council members onto that committee because there's only 3 members. All the important council committees have at least 5. They have 5 committee members so that you can make informed decisions, but we've only got 3 on the Plum Committee, and that's one of the important committees in the city. The gangs are moving into North Hollywood. Wendy Gruhl, I saw you on the news last night. That's coming to the west side, and it all comes back to planning and land use management. Let me tell you, there's social problems in the city, and the neighborhood councils are calling for it. Stop trying to thwart the neighborhood councils. That's the whole point of having them, and they're saying, get representation for your district on the Plum Committee because they're railroading you guys, and you know it. Now, I'm Matt Dowd. I'm on a federal lawsuit. It's a First Amendment lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. That's why I'm on blackout today. It's another First Amendment protest. My head's getting squeezed inside the ski mask. I don't know how Zuma Dog does it all day. But I'm on this lawsuit with Michael Hunt. Mike Hunt. And I'm going to come here every day and talk about Mike Hunt. Because I'm sick of bringing Mike Hunt down to City Hall. Mike Hunt's been violated. 699 days. Mike Hunt's itching to get back out on the beach. But you keep continuing the item and it's all legal. Mr. City Attorney, I'm on the lawsuit with Mike Hunt. Me and Mike Hunt are on a lawsuit against the city of Los Angeles. So no one likes to see Mike Hunt violated. And I've been here for 2 years. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it, but I'm going to keep coming and talking about it every single day
Thank you very
right
much.
here on
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Michael Hunt.
Wow, man, that's Matt Dow from the Venice Outlaws. I'd like to recognize some ladies from Janet Hahn's district. Please stand up, ladies. Yeah, there you guys go. Let's give these ladies a round of applause.
Madam President, that is out of order, and I think you should leave the councilwoman of the district.
Please continue. Ms. Hahn is going to appropriately acknowledge them in a moment.
She's a nice person.
Okay. Please finish your that last public comment speaker. And then
Yes.
Ms. Hahn is going.
And I'd like to thank Matt Dow from the Venice Outlaws for representing in a way that the violations that are actually happening should not be happening. Mr. City Attorney, we tried to work with you on this and trying to get some things done. Hopefully, it's coming to an end. I really want to go back to work and get out of you guys' hands. And like Matt Dowd said, we're going to be here until the whole settlement proposal is finished. Hunt versus the City of Los Angeles is actually a unique, because we beat them in pro per se E. And, you know, we always say who's always smarter than a fifth grader. But I was just going over Rocky's history, so we know who's smarter than a fifth grader. Davis and Butthead, the one that's caused you guys all these problems. But like I said, the sooner the better. But we love you guys. Hey, if you guys want us to stay, we'll stay another 2 years until you guys are termed out. I love you guys, so just always remember that. And see you tomorrow or Friday.
Thank you. Now for the official introduction, I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Madam President. And I would like all the women who are from the Peninsula East Social Club, from the Palos Verdes area, the San Pedro area, to stand up. Stand up. This is a wonderful group of women. They meet regularly at the Admiral Risty restaurant down there in Palos Verdes, and they're here today touring City Hall. They had lots of questions when I was back there about who are these people speaking, what we were talking about, how many days of the week we met. So they're very interested in our form of city government here. I've already invited them, as Tom LaBonge would have done, to go up to the Tom Bradley Tower. It's a gorgeous day today in Los Angeles, and you can see Palos Verdes and San Pedro all the way from the top of our City Hall, so it's a beautiful day. We know you're involved in great causes and charitable events, and we welcome the Peninsula East Social Club here today, and we hope you have a wonderful visit here at City Hall, and we hope you have a great day today, and you can come visit us any time, and so we're glad to have you here.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn, and welcome, ladies, to the City Council chambers. It is never dull in the Council chambers, so welcome. Madam Clerk, if we could take item 6, we do now have 12 members. If no one wants to call item 6 special, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on item 6, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Thank you. That item has been approved. Next item.
Next item, Madam President, Ms. Hahn called items 7, 8, and 21 special. I believe she wished to take those up together.
Thank you. Ms. Hahn, 7, 8, and 21.
Thank you. Colleagues, I wanted to take 7, 8, and 21 together, which means I get to speak 9 minutes, right? Because they all relate to the Clean Air Action Plan at the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. Colleagues, you know that for years we've studied and talked about cleaning and greening our port. And very serious steps have been taken. They were started under my brother's administration, the No Net Increase project, which was to say that we could grow the port, but we couldn't increase the number of emissions, the amount of emissions that were put into the air. And now our current mayor, Villaraigosa, has continued this priority, and in November of 2006, we implemented the Clean Air Action Plan together with the Port of Los Angeles, which is in itself very historic. And today, colleagues, we're taking some very significant steps in our goal of making permanent changes to the way the ports do business. These actions have to do with trucks, a major polluter in the harbor area and throughout this region. Item 7 today is a tariff charge which will eventually ban all aging, dirty trucks from servicing the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. And beginning later this year, we will systematically eliminate these trucks so that by 2012, no truck will enter the port that does not have clean emissions standards. This will mean the reduction of 7,000 tons per year of NOx emissions and up to 405 tons per year of diesel particulate matter. This is huge. Various studies have shown that this will reduce premature deaths and the risk of developing cancer, and certainly will help to control the epidemic of asthma that we have, particularly in the younger children and elderly in the harbor area. Item 8 establishes a clean truck fee, and that will be $35 per 20-foot unit, and that's one of the containers. Most of the containers you see in and around the port are 40 feet, so that will be double that amount. And it will be paid by the cargo owners for every container entering or leaving one of our terminals. And this fee is expected to generate $1.6 billion, which will be used to help replace 16,000 trucks by 2012. Thereby meeting our clean air standards. And when we implement a program like that, many people say, how's it going to be paid for? How are we going to finance that? This is a great way to attach a fee to the containers, which will do just that. And again, this is an agreement that was made jointly by the Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach, and this is significant that we're going to be replacing these dirty trucks. And finally, item 21 today is the first 6 agreements of another component of this Clean Air Action Plan, and that's to replace the 1994 diesel-powered trucks with new LNG-fueled trucks. And this $27 million program is funded through both ports and the South Coast Air Quality Management District. These important steps, colleagues, represent a clear, no pun intended, message from the city and from our port. And gone are the days of doing business that will cause harm and risk to our health and our lives. We know that the port is an economic engine. We know that every container that comes in there represents commerce and billions of dollars to our economy and thousands of jobs, millions of jobs for our region. But we also know that every container that comes in there poses a risk. It poses a risk to people's health and safety. So I've always believed that we can do both. We can have good jobs and we can have clean air. We don't have to debate whether we have one or the other. And what we're doing today, colleagues, is showing everyone that we can have both. And I believe we're going to achieve this goal. Today, this is an important step. We still have ways to go, but this, colleagues, is something we should be very, very proud of. So I would appreciate your enthusiastic vote on these items.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hahn, for your leadership on this issue, and I know this has been a passion of yours since you were first elected. We do have one card, Ms. Hahn, if you don't have a problem with opening up on Greg Roche from Clean Energy. Please.
Good morning, council members. My name is Greg Roach. I am with Clean Energy. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm here to offer my support for Agenda Item 21, the Clean Truck Contracts, and I want to make 3 brief points on my support. But as way of background, I just want to let you know, Clean Energy is committed to making sure the alternative fuel infrastructure is available in Southern California for this new wave of clean trucking. As a company between building fueling stations and building a fuel production plant, we are spending around $100 million of our own money to make this a reality. So this is truly a public-private partnership. My 3 points. Point number 1, These trucks clearly are much cleaner than other options that are available. These trucks reduce emissions of NOx. These trucks reduce emissions of diesel particulate matter. They also reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. So a combination of all reductions in one fuel. Point number 2, the fuel for these trucks is domestic, and I think that doesn't get as much attention as it should, but here's an option to keep our American dollars here in the U.S. as opposed to sending dollars overseas to countries that, frankly, really don't care for us too much. So domestic is a key point of bringing this alt fuel into this area. Point number 3, last point, we all want cleaner air. We all want to prevent climate change. We all want energy independence, and we want to grow. We want a strong economy. Change requires bold leadership, and your action today is bold, it is leadership, and your leadership will help stir the winds of change so that we can accomplish clean trucking first in Southern California and Los Angeles that will lead the nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Matt Dowd.
Yes, thank you. Since the honourable council member showed us some respect, I'll remove the blackout for this item, but I do want to talk on this because, we've all got the right to clean air, but with the rights always come responsibilities, and one of those responsibilities is for the public to stop buying things that are imported from China, because half of those trucks are bringing in Chinese stuff up the freeway from the port. They come straight across the ocean from China. So stop buying things from China, first of all. But secondly, we talk about a subway to the sea a lot. Everyone talks about the subway to the sea to take people down to the coast from downtown or wherever. We need a subway from the port inland. And there needs to be a rail line under there, and we put those containers on the rail line and get them out of town, because they're going all over the state and all over the country, and there's hundreds and thousands of containers, and you just load them straight on that rail line, and you can have it a green rail line. You can figure out how to do that, because it's friction-free to a point. There's no tire wear, there's no pollution out on the street affecting all the school children in those districts, all that lead and toxic waste that comes out of those diesel trucks going in those schoolroom windows. That's why LAUSD's got poor averages, because they're sitting in this smog-filled room because we've got all these trucks driving up the freeways. So build the subway from the sea. That's what Matt Dowd's got to say on this one. It's going to cost a lot of money, but we're going to get it from Arnold and from the state and federal government. Work on that one.
Thank you very much. Arnold Sachs will be our last speaker.
Yes, good morning. Thank you very much. Just two quick things. One, since we have the Alameda Corridor, when is that going to be completed to all the way to the port of Long Beach or LA? It stops short of Pacific Coast Highway. And number two, Long Beach passed a different kind of restrictions on their clean truck ordinance. How does that affect the City of LA's plans to move forward? Thank you for your time. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you very much. That closes public comment. I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Smith.
Thank you. And I want to commend also Ms. Hahn for her leadership on this. When we went to the League of Cities, I think it was 2 years ago, a number of us went over and met with the White House staff on environmental issues, and they said to us very clearly, you folks in LA, you got to get your house in order. Your attainment issues are supremely important to us, and if you don't get them done, it means very severe restrictions on Los Angeles and all the things that come out of transportation, all the funding, etc. And so they said very clearly, get your house in order, LA, and while we may fight them on some of the issues, how we're going to do that, the point is that you've taken a supreme step toward doing that. If you look at the attainment issues in the region, over half the pollution problems in this region come out of the LA Harbor. And you've understood that for a long time. And bringing this forward is a big, big step toward solving that problem. So I commend you on that. It is what we need to do. And while I'm one of those pro-business guys on this council, I understand that there's a social responsibility that business carries, and they have to understand that. And I'm glad you brought them together, because I know they were, for the most part, a part of this discussion. And that's the way to get consensus. So I congratulate you. This is a giant step that will really impact the life of the people in this region, not just the harbor, but this entire region for decades and decades to come. And so I congratulate you on your leadership, and I'm delighted to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes, of course, I'm part of that committee, and we had quite a discussion on it. All of the aspects were put out. How many trucks are old? How many is this? What do we need to do that? And we even threw a new element called electric vehicles to see if we could move in that direction. Look, we have the busiest port in the nation. We have the worst pollution from that port in the nation. Mayor James Hahn went over there and started the coal iron thing where you could plug in. God bless Jimmy Hahn for getting that diesel garbage coming out of the back of the ships from flowing right into San Pedro and into Wilmington. He showed real leadership. And, of course, his sister has shown consistent leadership here on the council on this issue. So I applaud you, Janice Hahn, for that. It was a no-brainer for me in committee to be an advocate, supporter of it, and obviously, council, unanimous support on this. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendahl. And again, thank you, Ms. Hahn, for your leadership on this item. And with that, we're going to take the vote. So, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on items 7, 8, and 21. Close the roll and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Ms. Hahn. Those have been approved unanimously. I think the next item, Ms. Hahn, is yours as well, item 20.
Item 20 before us today is a proposed agreement between this great port that we were just talking about and an organization called Topsail. And one of our public comment items, someone talked about the gang violence that is now moving into other parts of the city. And as you know, my big issue has always been about preventing kids from joining gangs in the first place and providing real alternatives for after-school activities. A lot of times our kids get recruited into gangs because they have nothing to do and they're idle after school. Topsail, my friends, is one of those great programs down in the harbor that takes kids, particularly kids who are at risk, although I would contend these days all of our young people are at risk, and they teach them how to sail. And nothing changes a kid's life or an adult's life more than actually being on one of these boats and sailing either to Catalina or somewhere else. You learn a lot about the open sea. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about what it takes to partner with other people to get your ship from point A to point B. And I want to congratulate the Port of Los Angeles for agreeing to co-sponsor this wonderful program to the tune of $1.6 million. So, colleagues, I'd like us to approve this. But one of the things that struck me, as we seem to be seeing an increase in gang violence, we seem to be seeing more of our young people who are at risk and don't have opportunities, particularly from South Los Angeles. I asked what it would take to expand this program so we could reach even more kids, and the answer back was money. And so I would like the Port of Los Angeles to come back to me and tell me how you can, I'm just going to say, double this amount. Because I know for a fact one of the ships that they use is in disrepair and needs at least $1 million, I believe, to renovate it and get it back up to speed. Well, maybe less than that. But so I want to say, Mike Christensen, would you come back and report to us on how you might double this amount at least so that we can reach even more kids, so that it fulfills one of the agendas that we all have, which is keeping kids from joining gangs in the first place. And you could be a big part of that. So I hate to look a gift horse in the mouth, but thanks for doing what you do, but could you double it? So I don't know how we want to approve that with that caveat that they
a formal motion you would like to making that?
Well, maybe they give a report back. Maybe we approve this, but they report back to my committee soon on how they might double this amount.
Okay. We should do that. Mr. Rosendahl.
Yes, indeed. I just wanted to comment on that. I was again in the committee when we saw Topsail come before us, and it was the first time I've heard of them. And the incredible opportunity they give young people to get out of the gangs, to get out of trouble, to become a positive spirit. This is all part of the intervention and prevention strategies that make so much sense. Just like your parcel tax, which I 100% support for the November ballot. Not only should we double it, but that's the bare minimum we should do is double it. The port makes a lot of money. It's a very powerful place. It is a natural for them to be part of the solution in going forward. So we look forward to you reporting back to committee with how you're going to double it so we can do kumbaya and we can take a few more kids out of the potential of getting into gangs. It's a brilliant move on your part, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rose.
Yeah, and this program works. I mean, we have stories about young people who really have turned their life around because of this program, so we know it works. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hahn. Madam Clerk, if we could open the roll on item 20 and close the roll and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Thank you. We do have a request on to reconsider two items, item 4 and item 5. If we could open reconsideration on those items and close the roll and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Okay. We are going, excuse me. We are going to continue item 5 for 2 weeks. Mr. Rosendahl, on item number 4?
Yes, item 4, we want to continue until April 29th.
April 29th. Okay. That will be the order. Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Next item, Madam President, is item number 22, and that was called special by Councilmember Parks.
Mr. Parks.
Thank you very much. We got the information so we can move that item.
We can move. Okay. Madam Clerk, if you could open the roll on item 22, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
That item has been approved. Next item?
Next item, Madam President, are items with cards, item 28, 29, and 30, and they are related if council wishes to take those all at the same time.
We will take them all at the same time. (28) and 29 and 30. So, Mr. Matt Dowd, Michael Hunt, and Arnold Sachs.
Yes, Matt Dowd, blackout day in support of my cunt. But I want to talk about this one. It's more lawsuits. City of Los Angeles fighting against the DWP. It's something that needs to stop. This is where all the money's going. The mayor's running around saying the city doesn't have any money and we're going to have to start cutting cops. That's what the mayor's saying. He's going to start cutting police to save money. But we're wasting money. We're trying to steal money from the DWP. They raise their rates so the poor constituents pay more for their utilities. But the DWP doesn't get to install the infrastructure because the city of Los Angeles has taken the money for the general fund. And then they're giving it out all this affordable housing nonsense. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Hunt.
Thank you again. It's good to be back on Channel 35 with this continuation of the water and power. Here's what I say about this one. Let the people have the money and give water and power, increase the rates so that the city can spend more money in the lawsuits area so that they can pay us. I think that's very important. Increase the water so that we can get funded in the year 2008.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sachs?
Yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm concerned about the language in this item, especially the part in the last paragraph where it states when the transaction is complete, the department will receive a payment of $48,000 from Caltrans, which will be deposited into the Water Revenue Fund. Since the Department of Water and Power is only bound by the city debt management policies, the city financial policies are not applicable. Excuse me, say that 3 times fast. Today, you had an item before you, item number 10, which has very similar language. I'd like to read the last paragraph of that. The CAO reports that there is no impact on the general fund. The city financial policies are not applicable to the CRA. The CRA is only bound by the disclosure provisions of the city debt management policies. Now, in this item, it says the CRA is bound only by the disclosure provisions of the city debt management policies. In item 29, it says that the water department is not bound by the city debt management policies. Therefore, the city financial policies are not applicable. But if the CRA is bound by the disclosure provisions, therefore, wouldn't it make sense that the financial policies would be applicable to the CRA? I'm sorry, say it 3 times fast. It is a matter of connotation. It's a matter of language. I believe 2 weeks ago or last week, you, Madam President.
Yeah, Madam President, I don't believe he's on topic on these 3 ordinances regarding the Central Valley or in the Inyo County.
I'm trying to find out the correct language for the ordinance, sir. One ordinance says something is not applicable because then it won't affect the city revenues. The other one says that only part of it is applicable, so it should affect the city revenues. I'm trying to find out what the difference is and get an explanation on what the language is. Thank you for your time and your answers.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Colleagues, we now have those items before us. That's items 28, 29, and 30. Madam Clerk, if you could please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Those items have been approved. Next item.
Next item is item 34, and that was called special for a card from the public.
Yes, and the first card we have is from Sharon Brewer in our Valley City Hall. Ms. Brewer.
Thank you. Sharon Brewer, item number 34, special event fee waivers. We have 6 total, 3 with amount, $7,627, 1 reimbursed, 2 no amounts, blank check to city funds. 2 of the events, a February 24th event with no dollar amount and DOT, LAPD, and fire department involved, and F223, $1,642 is an after the event, and Council File 052467-S1 goes and says that these motions have to be approved prior to the event to kick in these departments to do the job that they're supposed to do. And I keep referring to this, but it's like nobody's listening. On item number A, which is one without a dollar amount, again, it's a parade, you end up having DOT, LAPD, fire department, street closures. On B, you have street closures, DOT, LAPD, and fire department. On F, you also have street closures and DOT. CAO reports show that DOT, LAPD overtime salaries from special events are a major issue. City Council needs to stop all special events that require city departments, and you instantly save the city money and free up these departments to do their jobs for the entire city and not just special interests. Special events are okay, but they need to not involve the city departments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Matt Dowd, followed by Michael Hunt.
Hey, kiddies at the back of the room, quick check the TV monitors. Matt Dowd here on Channel 35 doing the blackout in support of the African American. But let me talk about these fee waivers in Los Angeles. And I disagree with Sharon Brewer. You know, it's $7,000 that she's added up. One of them's being reimbursed. That's what we fought for. The other ones are community events. This is small change in the city of Los Angeles. We're talking billions of dollars with our subway to get our goods from Long Beach out into the inland. So this is something I'm in favor of. The fee waivers, we've got a good one here. The Slauson Western Youth Enrichment Program. 25th Annual Black History Parade on February 24th. See, I love that one. We don't even need to know how much that costs. That's Parks and Perry. He's on Budget and Finance, chair of the committee. I'm sure it's not ridiculous. It's going to be reasonable. Same with the Guatemalan and Central American communities. See, these are community events, Sharon Brewer. We're trying to instill some kind of community awareness because the community is getting railroaded by the city attorneys who think everything's a black and white legal line in this town, and it's not. We're human. There's gray areas. There's a human component, just like there's a speech component. So, these are all good. Especially the Way of the Cross. I mean, they're even reimbursing the city for the fees and costs. So that's Jan Perry and Greg Smith. Hooty hoo, if I was Zuma Dog. But I'm not. But you can read all about these kind of things on Zuma Dog's blog. It's political comment, LA Daily blog. And Jan Perry, just walk in front of me anytime. I don't mind.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Michael Hunt.
Well, thank you on the fee waivers, and Matt Dow and the Black History fee waivers. I think that anytime you do a special event, it should be allocated $2,500 for all special events throughout the city of Los Angeles. I think that all special events need $2,500. That should be the minimum. Fee waivers, all that, run up the budget. Run up City Hall. Run up, have everybody out there, the fire department, the police department, the police monitors, all the kids. Let's give you guys a round of applause. All right. Thanks for bringing the kids down to City Hall. And this is the Michael Hunt and Matt Dow Show. Welcome to Channel 35. Peace out.
Thank you very much. That item is now before us. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on item number 34. Excuse me, open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Thank you. Colleagues, I would like to make a special introduction of these young people who are here today. If I could ask them to all stand. This is the Foundations School Community Second Grade who are here this morning. And you see she has a sign that says, "I love the rainforest." These students have been working hard and raised over $2,000 to donating to save the rainforest. This was entirely student-driven and project, and we want to thank them for doing that. And I'm excited to welcome them to City Hall and commend them on our efforts to save our rainforest and learning about City Hall. And we have some wonderful T-shirts that they brought for you. And I want to thank Pat Hines from Safe Moves and the parents and teachers that are here with them today. And you'll be able to see yourselves tonight, children, on Channel 35. So we make sure you can watch that on TV tonight. But thank you very much. Let's give them a great round of applause. The children from Foundation School Community Second Grade. Thank you very much for being here. Welcome. Our next item, Madam Clerk.
Next item, Madam President, is item 35. That was called special by Councilmember Parks, and I believe there is also a card on this item.
Yes, Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just like to, first of all, thank Council members Hahn and Perry and Labange and Herb Wesson for joining on this motion to identify the absolute necessity that we put our voices into this conversation about initially the county's efforts to close 11 facilities, medical facilities in the community. We've only had to see what the impact of the closure of MLK has occurred on our 8 surrounding hospitals, and now to have any discussion about closing the general medical facilities would reverse the age-old trend in the county of going for preventive medicine, preventive care, and would drive several thousand people into our emergency rooms where it's already overcrowded. We see already in the city of LA that paramedics are taking longer time to basically pick up victims of traffic accidents or crimes or medical emergencies finding a location to take them, and then once in these hospitals, they are finding it very difficult to get those patients released for care. So we're losing a great deal of resources in the city, in our emergency room backlog, and all these closures would enhance or cause these situations to get worse. In addition, if the second alternative was to not close them but to convert them to privatization, then the issue is even more severe in the fact that we add the element of about 12 to 1,500 people being unemployed, which are county employees that now are on basically the unemployment line. So we're just pleased that after this motion we had 4 of the supervisors come forward and vote not to make the cuts in those areas. But we also know that there's some significant strains in the county budget, the funds that are coming from the federal government, the fact that they're also talking about cutting Medicare and Medi-Cal, that we have the situation to where even though we might survive or get past this hump, that we will end up probably debating or discussing this in the future of reduced medical care in the communities. For the areas that signed this motion that have a large number of people in that poverty level that are unemployed, we know that many of them do not have medical insurance, and I'm just pleased personally to see that universal health care is being debated or discussed during the presidential election, because it's apparent that the only way we're going to solve this is on a federal or national level. And so I am pleased to see that the county has at least at this time chose to look elsewhere, but I don't think that we could be less vigilant in the future that this may come back as it relates to additional cuts at a later time. And so I'd ask for an aye vote on this issue to send a strong message that the LA City Council is very concerned about any cuts in medical services within the county.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Ms. Hahn?
Thank you, Madam President. I just really want to thank Councilmember Parks for your leadership on this issue. And I think what you said is absolutely true. For the last several years, we've been watching the health care safety net provided by LA County completely fall apart. First, we watched a very painful slow demise of Martin Luther King Hospital in Willowbrook. Now we are hearing about what we predicted would be problems at Harbor UCLA, particularly with their emergency room and that being overcrowded. And the people of Los Angeles, many of whom we represent, are being let down by the county's obligation to provide health care. That's why when I heard this proposal from the county that they wanted to shut down 11 community clinics, I couldn't believe it. We're all facing budget problems. We certainly have our share here in the city of Los Angeles, but in my opinion, health care is not negotiable, and this would be very short-sighted in terms of the overall safety net that we need to provide in the county of Los Angeles. Their health care system has been crippled over the years. Certainly, they've got issues with the federal dollars coming their way to keep these hospitals open and operating, but closing these clinics. I know I have some in Wilmington, Watts, Harbor City, Harbor Gateway area that would be devastated if these clinics were closed. So on behalf of the people that we represent, even though we don't have a direct jurisdiction over providing health care, certainly we have to stand up every time we hear this on behalf of the people we represent to ask them to not consider now or in the future downsizing in any way people's ability to access quality health care for themselves and their families. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. There is one speaker card on this for Mr. Arnold Sachs.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. Arnold Sachs. Having gone to the County Board of Supervisors meeting to hear this discussion, I'd like to point out to the City Council that in the LA Times article from February 15th, it stated that the county spends $197 at one of its own facilities for health care services. According to some of the speakers who were at the County Board of Supervisors meeting on the following Tuesday, Private health care services cost approximately $130 for a patient to go to a private health care clinic. The county reimburses them $97, which means they have to make up the difference. The county is spending $197 to see the same patient. If private health care clinics are spending $135 and the county is spending $197, there's clearly a deficit of $62. What the City Council needs to discuss is how do they make up the $62 difference? Having spoken a few times at the County Board of Supervisors meeting and having listened to numerous items on the agenda where the services can be performed more economically by an independent contractor, at least 30 times over the last 3 years, then maybe the County Board of Supervisors needs to look at independent contractors for the health services. I'd also like to point out that hearings are continuing on this item. City Council's time to act on this item and Martin Luther King Hospital was approximately 2.5 to 3 years ago when the hospital was still open and going through the pains of failure from the federal regulators who were inspecting the hospital. That's when the City Council should have put action in to find out what's going on with the county. And finally, just like I did at the County Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday, I'd like to point out that we're looking for Dr. Moe, Dr. Larry, Dr. Curley to help on this item. Thank you for your time and thank you for your answers.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rosendahl, did you press your button to speak on item 35? Mr. Rosendahl. Okay, Mr. Rosendahl's in the queue. Are you in the queue on 35? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one slight comment here, folks. Our health in this country is in a crisis form. We're watching presidential candidates talk about what they would do about it. This is a symptom of a huge problem. We're closing clinics, we've closed hospitals, we've closed emergency rooms. Even us council members here with our insurance, my doctors don't even take it, and I have to add more to the cost. We got a huge crisis, and I'm thrilled that we're at least focusing on it for just a minute or two here, but the day will come when it will become a disaster if we don't have a national policy, and if we don't take it more seriously. It's just going totally out of control, so appreciate us putting this before us.
Thank you. Mr. Alarcon, your button's pressed on item 35? Okay, you're not in the queue? Okay. Great. All right, Madam Clerk, if you would please open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right. Next item.
Next item is item 37, and that was called special for cards from the public.
All right. Our speaker on that item is Mr. Arnold Sachs again. 1 minute. Mr. Sachs, you'll have 1 minute.
Thank you. Final item. Will this person that's being appointed as executive assistant, will also some of their domain include Ontario Airport? We need to find out what's going on at LAX. There's complaints about too many flights, too many of this, too many of that. Recently, Air France is going to be offering service to LAX. EVA Airlines is going to be offering service to LAX. British Airways is going to be offering service to LAX. Air China is going to be offering service to LAX. I see nothing in any of these airlines that are offering service to LAX, anybody going to Ontario Airport. Will this government relations position include getting more flights to Ontario and alleviating some of the congestion that occurs at LAX? Thank you for your time. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you. Mr. Zine.
I'd like to move this matter forthwith, please.
Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can relax.
Pleasure.
Thank you. No other speakers in the queue. Madam Clerk, please open the roll on that. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
And as Mr. Zine requested, we'll move it forthwith. Next item.
Madam President, do you wish to clear the desk before going into closed session?
Yes.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Motions are posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Smith requests to leave on the following Fridays at noon, February 29th, March 28th, April 11th, 18th, and 25th. May 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th, and a motion is required on the February, March, and April 18th motions.
Motion made by Mr. Wesson, seconded by Mr. Cardenas, and those requests are granted.
Next request is Councilmember Perry request to be excused Wednesday, March 9th to leave at 10:30 for city business. That meets council policy.
I guess, can I excuse myself? All right, that'll be fine.
Councilmember Hahn requests to be excused Friday, March 14th to leave at 11:30 for city business. A motion is required.
Motion by Mr. Parks, seconded by Mr. Rosendahl. Without objection.
Councilmember Zine requests to be excused Wednesday, March 5th for city business. A motion is required.
Without objection. Somebody has to make a motion. All right, Mr. Wesson makes a motion, seconded by Mr. Cardenas.
And that clears the desk, Madam President.
Great. Then we'll have to recess into closed session. And Mr. City Attorney, if you'd make the admonition.
Council should go into closed session on item number 36.
We have to clear the chamber. Thank you.
There was a wall made of stones. It curved like your hair.
Welcome back to the City Council meeting. We just completed our executive session. Madam Clerk, next item.
The desk is clear, Madam President.
Okay. Colleagues, do we have any announcements today? Any announcements? Any adjourning motions today, colleagues? Well, if not, thank you very much. And Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Gruhl, Hahn, Parks, Perry, Rosendahl, Smith, Weiss, Wesson, Zine.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Next meeting is Friday in City Council chambers.